Welcome to the Wobble Man. I am Kim Pearl, and I am the daughter of Jerry Willis, who is the Wobble Man. So we welcome you to this again, another recording of Wobble Man. What do you have for us this week? What are your grand thoughts?
Okay.
Teach us.
The thoughts for this week are going to be the Wobble system. Once it's introduced, there are some very interested parties right now in the Wobble system, as I've spoken of before, utilizing energy inputs from outside sources such as gas turbines, steam turbines, power dams,
Right.
and even off of internal combustion engines. They produce a lot of heat also that can be harnessed to run the Wobble system. But as the Wobble system matures, I already have a concept for allowing this Wobble system to be totally self-contained.
Now that's what I want to know about.
Well, you won't get the details at this point, but we'll talk about what it could do and some of the attributes of a system that's self-contained. This system won't require input from an outside source such as heat and water pressure from an outside source. In order for it to run, it will actually create its own source of energy to drive itself and produce.
So you're talking a self-contained system,
right? Totally self-contained.
That'll run through the Wobble.
Yeah, all self-contained. Recycling the material used to make it run, producing excess energy. And that excess energy will be based on design parameters for an individual unit. If you want one to run a generator at your home, you have different size generators. So you'd have different size self-contained units drive those generators. If you were using it to drive the propulsion system on a ship, well, that would be a much larger unit. Or if you have a system to drive a locomotive that we know today is diesel powered, most of them, diesel powered pulling a load, you can have a totally enclosed Wobble system driving the generator that feeds the motors to the wheels of the locomotive that they use today. Trucks, same thing. You can have a Wobble system generating the electricity to drive the electric truck. It's all self-contained. You never have to stop for fuel. We only stop to unload and reload, or unhook the trailer, reload a trailer.
So it's a totally different understanding of engine. There's nothing going into it where we have to keep stopping and refueling.
Yeah.
It's just all self-contained, and it just sounds like something on Tatooine in Star Wars.
I didn't know Star Wars. Well, no, this is real stuff. This is not going to be.
You could live like Star Wars and all that.
But I'm gonna. This might insult a few people, but engineers and scientists who are in the box will refuse absolutely to believe that this can be done. That's okay. Do I care? No. I just want to see a better world.
Right.
And we get there by doing things different than the way they're being done today.
We've got to do something.
That's what this thing is going to do. It's going to challenge people. There are going to be a lot of people, of course, that are making a nice living off the way they're doing business. They're not going to want to see this. But we'll just have to deal with that when it comes along, if it comes along.
Sure.
But this is a totally self-contained unit, and it will be an advancement of the Wobble blade system. It will allow some huge changes to take place in this world regarding fossil fuels, wind energy, solar, you name it. If it's a source of energy today, it will be required to have those sources of energy along to build these Wobble systems that are self-contained. But once we get a certain number of them built, they will be supplying the energy needs of the world, and we'll no longer need the fossil fuels, the wind, or solar, or geothermal. Geothermal is a good source.
Yeah.
But, there's no need to have any of those when you got your own power generating unit sitting outside your house, just like you have air conditioning units today,
Yeah.
or your car is propelled with a unit that's in the car that's self-contained.
That is something.
So
I wonder if the generator units that you would have in your home, if you would have so much excess that you could, well, I know you'd probably have to store it. I guess you could share it. That's an amazing idea.
You could have a community go together, but the problem is with transmission. You see what happens in facilities where you have a power transmitted from generator to multiple users.
Yeah.
That transmission system breaks down. Look at New Orleans right now.
Oh.
Look at Texas last winter.
Oh,
We had
wow.
3 frozen days here. What if we all had our own generating units?
Yeah.
That wouldn't have happened.
Right.
You wouldn't have had a breakdown like that. Everybody has their own unit. Now, if a tornado comes through and tears up houses and generating units, yeah, you lose those. But that's not hitting the entire community.
You definitely would have to make sure that the water in your unit was antifreeze.
Well, it will probably be a specialty coolant of some sort, or specialty, but that's to come. Yeah, that will be developed. There's no,
because
no
I know you
problem
can
there.
use any kind of liquid, but you'd have to consider your climate, too
Well, of
hot,
course.
too cold.
Yeah,
and
if you were up in Alaska above the Arctic Circle, you would have a particular coolant. It wouldn't be the same coolant that you might use if you live in Peru, or Mexico, or Florida. So you would have a different type of coolant there. Or if you were at the North Pole, South Pole, you have the extreme temperatures. Or something we haven't talked about yet is these things can be used, these wobble systems can be used in space, in orbit, on moon bases.
That's
Smart
right.
stations.
So you wouldn't have to worry about gravity?
No, the gravity doesn't have a thing to do with the way these things work.
Okay.
These things work off pressure.
Got it.
And that pressure is supplied, initially is going to be supplied by power dams, steam turbines, gas turbines, reciprocating engines that have the heat that's harvested off of them to produce the steam to drive the wobble system and make that system more efficient. But as this thing matures, we're talking about a self-contained unit that generates its own. You do start it up with a starter, but it's like a gasoline engine. You got to start a gasoline engine running. They used to hand crank the dude's suckers over. I remember when I was a kid, we had a John Deere tractor that had a hand crank on the front. Right. And you got out the front and you cranked it over, the engine starts up and you're running. Today it's electric starters. For the wobble system, it could be an electric starter that starts it running. Once it's running, then it continues to run and produce a generous and excessive amount of power, such that you could be using it to power your home or a car or train or plane or other device. Any motive, submarines even could use them.
Sure. Wow, with no need of refuel.
Yeah,
subs have gone to, was it nuclear subs, to be able to generate their own energy. So
you don't need a nuclear reactor anymore.
No. Yeah. Got it.
So it'll be quite a different world when all of this takes place. But this is not science fiction. This is science fact that's not known yet, but it will be known in time.
Well, even the things we enjoy today, man, just 20 years ago, how could we have guessed, especially the power of what can be in like a cell phone, and compared to what we were 50 years ago with the power of computers to go to the moon for the first time, and how much more that we're able to do, shrink things down and get more energy out of them. I would imagine that the wobble would start out pretty big and at the same time would be able to streamline that technology, make it smaller so it could be able to do more.
Sure. I had
It'd
an
be more
interesting experience.
efficient and portable. Man,
Yeah,
it'd be great. I can't imagine camping and taking me a little tote wobble with me so that I have something wherever I go.
sure. I had an interesting experience last Monday. I went to a presentation at the Houston Petroleum Club,
Uh-huh.
and it was titled something like "Imagine a World Without Petroleum Products."
Okay.
Well, it turned into a presentation that touted all the benefits of petroleum products, which is true today. It's very, today we couldn't go from petroleum products to no petroleum products immediately. You can't do that. The fellow giving the presentation, I had sent him an email that I wanted to meet him, and he came over, and I talked with him for a few minutes. And of course, the greetings, that sort of thing. And it finally came down to, what do you do? Well, I've got this hobby that I've had all my life, and now I'm turning it into more than a hobby. It's the Wobble blade motor. What's that? I said, well, take a look at this little video. They showed him the video, and he said, well, that's a nice hobby, and that's a nice toy. And I said, well, it's going to be more than a toy in the future. But in his presentation, he mentioned several times and they'd show a little pile of minerals, and the only thing that can replace petroleum products in his presentation is a mineral called unobtainium. Unobtainium, in other words, you can't get there. I thought that was a pretty cool name for a mineral that doesn't exist and that they don't think is ever going to exist.
Oh, that's very limited thinking, isn't it?
Well, I
There's not
thought
a lot
so.
of
He realized,
creativity and
of course,
imagination.
he's a professor at the University of Houston. He realized that that was, yeah, kind of an insult. And then he backed off of it and said, well, I didn't really mean that. But
Well, yeah, I did.
oh, he really did.
Well, from his perspective, he really did.
Well, I did enjoy the presentation, and the scoffing at getting away from petroleum products was, you'd have to have a product, or you'd have to have a mineral called unobtainium. So
It's cute.
it was funny. It was good. It was interesting presentation.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
All right.
You got 5 questions or 2?
I'll see if I got 5, but
We
let me
don't have to
see
have
here.
5.
It's some more. This is a if you'd rather, would you rather? Okay, so would you rather, these are supposed to be tough. So would you rather lose the ability to lie or believe everything you're told?
Well, that's a tough one. I guess I wouldn't want to believe everything I'm told.
Okay. All right, so here's another one. I mean, that's tough too. I think, yeah. Okay, would you rather know how you will die or would you rather know when you will die?
I guess I could say that I would rather know when.
Okay, I think I would too.
You can plan ahead
Oh yeah,
because you
that's
know it's
true.
going to happen.
Right, I don't want to know how it happens. I can't take that. Would you rather know the world's secrets or live ignorant forever?
I want to know the secrets.
Yeah, I know. I knew that'd be an easy one for you, not a hard one. Okay. Would you rather be a cannibalist for the rest of your life or starve to death?
I'd starve to death.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do the cannibal thing.
Okay, here's a chuckle. Would you rather always have the urge to pee or would you rather always wear a diaper?
I think the urge would be better than the diaper. You could, you don't have to go just because you got the urge, but you can go soon after.
Yeah. Oh man, some of these questions. Okay. Well, it's been good to be with you, Wobble Man. Have a few chuckles, look at some things and dream and use our imagination. I think that today in our world, we've really lost it. And I think that in a time of COVID, when we're in a time of like so much sadness, I think that it can rob people of their ability to dream and imagine what can happen outside of all this. whether it's fear or whether it's just being gripped by anxiety, but to be able to relax and spend that time creatively thinking and not letting the sadness around us get a hold of us. And also all the other sad things going on in the world as well. But thanks for taking us to that place and deliberately dreaming and imagining. And I think that is the role. As a minister, I think of things theologically as well. I think that's the role of the prophets in the scriptures, in the Old Testament especially, was to dream dreams of what was to come and what the potential was for what was to come, and using that creative imagination. And I think you're doing that. You're doing that in a great way in a realm.
I agree. I commented recently that I'm a prophet that's going to usher the world into a new realm.
There you go. Yes, you have this dream, this beautiful, well worked out idea, and it was nothing for the prophets of the Old Testament to just be, as it was said to you, this is just a toy, because the imagination has not been sparked and ignited into thinking into different realms and creative ways to see things with lenses that are much broader and wider, and that creates excitement about actually how to bring healing into our world. We need it. There's so many poisons in the environment. This will help curb that and help us along in this time of rethinking how energy is converted and doing that in a healthy way. Well, thanks, Wobble Man. Appreciate it. If you have any questions for Wobble Man, go to the discussion section of this YouTube channel, Wobble Man, and you can put something there, or you can look for his contact information. Reach out to him by email. He'd love to hear from you. Take care, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Wobble Man.